All right, well, we're here with Heather Morley with Utah Property Team. Heather, thank you so much for coming in and being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So Heather and I go way back, right? Like we've known each other for years and years and years, met in the industry. How long have you been selling real estate now, Heather?
9 years.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Coming up on the big 10 years.
Yes, I know. So crazy. It went by really fast.
How are you feeling about that?
It went just by really, really fast, just like everything.
Yeah.
But I feel really good about it. Like I've loved being in real estate and I continue to love it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I'm still here.
That's awesome. What made you decide to get into real estate when you pivoted careers 9 years ago?
Honestly, like my boys were getting older and I just thought like I just wanted to do something else. At the time I was just working at a restaurant as a bartender. And so I just was like, my friend was actually talking about doing real estate and I was like, wait, I think I want to do that. Like maybe I can do that. And then, yeah, I went into Keller Williams and talked to them and they just said, do this, this, and this. And I did it. And here we are.
Here we are 9 years later.
I know. It's
awesome.
so crazy.
Awesome. It's been really fun to watch you on your journey and go from, I remember, when we met at PF Chang's at one of the first lunches that we did, with Aaron and Jamie and the team. And here we are 9 years later. So time flies when we're having fun. So
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about, life and real estate and being a mom and just different things like that. As a real estate professional, what is one of the biggest things that you've learned about life, about your profession, about homes? What do you think your biggest learning is thus far 9 years into this industry?
I think the biggest thing that I learned is to take care of yourself first. So, right when I first started real estate, and there's a lot of real estate agents that are like getting started and I see their like panic almost and where they feel like they have to be working all the time to feel like you're being successful.
Totally.
And so I think I've learned that you have to take care of yourself first and then everything else after that you can be better at. I can be a better agent. I can be a better mom. I can be a better friend, a better teammate if I just take care of myself first.
Yeah.
And so I always... my routine in the morning is that I wake up and I meditate and then I work out because that's my time.
Yep.
And then after that, then I can take care of real estate. So
I love that. Why do you think I can totally relate to that. Why do you think we put so much pressure on ourselves, right? Like I think there's been this thing of like, and hustling's not bad and working hard's not bad, right? But there's this thing called hustle culture, whatever you want to call it and stuff. But why do you think we put pressure on ourselves that way to
I don't know, like I think there is this underlying pressure. I don't know if it's just a Utah thing, but there is this pressure to be like perfect and to be always doing something and always like big elaborate things, right? And so totally. I don't know if it's like the culture or if it's just I think a lot of times we think that if we're not doing something, then we're not progressing or we're not like being successful if we're not
totally.
Like constantly doing something.
Yeah. And honestly, especially I think mothers are really, really hard on themselves, right? Like the mom guilt and all that stuff. I've watched that with my wife, Jen. And you're so busy anyways, right? Like you have so much to do. There's so much responsibility and obligation and different things like that. And honestly, thank God for moms, right? Like, because the world would not work without good moms out there. And so, no, it's hands down. Like I see it, I know it, and thanks, honey. And then, but as far as like taking care of yourself, I love that that's where you went because it's something I think we're starting to talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
You talked about meditating and different things like that. So physical health, mental health, and things like that. What have you seen since you've probably always been pretty good about putting yourself first as far as like taking care of yourself? Has there been a phase in your life where maybe you didn't do a good job of that and you saw maybe some challenges from that? And then what has the outcome been since you've said, hey, this is a non-negotiable, which by the way, I think is awesome, right? Like we should take time for ourselves. We should be able to take time for ourselves, right? Because that's how we are able to better show up for, like you said, our family, our friends, our neighbors, and different things like that. If we're constantly pulling from the bucket and not filling our own bucket.
Yeah.
it gets pretty rough. So do you have an experience you'd like to share?
Yeah,
Just kind of like
I
what
just
you've
feel
learned?
like when I first started real estate, I was so like crazy about like I just had to be busy all the time. Like I had to be at the office. I had to be doing all of this stuff in order for me to feel like I was actually doing something and being like I said, and feeling like I was going to be successful. Like if I was just constantly doing stuff, like. And so I just stopped really like doing all the little things like working out and like my favorite things, like I love to go on hikes and I like had stopped hiking and like all these things. And it's just like, why did I do that? Like,
Yeah.
and so I even actually, I had an experience where it was my son's birthday and one of my clients said, we want to see this house at 6:00. And I was like, at that time, I just thought, I have to do this. Like, I have to show them this house. And I actually was out to lunch with a couple of real estate agents that I admire. And I had just kind of said it to him and he said, what are you doing? No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like call and say like, hey, I can't do this until tomorrow. Are you guys okay with that? And I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know if I can say this. Like I felt like I just had to be there all the time for everybody at like right when they wanted me to. And I ended up messaging them and I'm like, hey, can you guys do this tomorrow? Instead, they're like, oh yeah, that's no problem. And I was like, wait, why did I stress out so much about that?
Yeah.
And it was my son's birthday. So it's like, I wanted to be there for his birthday.
For sure.
So
Those days are numbered, right? You only get so many birthdays with your kids, especially as they're younger, right?
Right.
Like those days are numbered. And I think being on this side of life, whatever, you called me midlife or whatever, right? All those things, like there's certain things that used to matter so much that at least I thought they did, right?
Yeah.
And they matter so much less now. And other things like making time for myself and my family and all that has become so much more of a priority.
So like taking time for myself in the morning, at first I thought like, no, I need to be up, like looking at my emails, looking at like making phone calls and all of those things. But it's like, I found now that like I do this stuff for myself, then I can show up so much better for everyone.
Absolutely.
So I'm more patient with my kids.
Yep.
I'm more patient actually with my clients if there's things going on or if there's challenges, because there's always challenges that come up.
Always.
I feel like I'm like constantly putting out fires like every day, all day.
That's why we call realtors miracle workers, right?
Yes. So it's like a constant thing. So it's like, I feel like if I get a phone call where it's like, oh, the appraisal came in low, I can handle it better because I've already done my meditation, I've worked out, and I'm like, I've taken time for myself.
Yeah, no, I love that. What advice would you give to like a new agent starting out? Because I think we've all been there where it's like, man, if I'm not like pulling my hair out or super busy, which I have no more to pull out, but like if we're not going crazy, that for some reason we're lesser than, or that we're not being productive or successful, like what advice would you give to an agent that may be struggling with this?
I think I would just say like, they talk about this a lot is time blocking and just actually putting it in the calendar and just saying, this is my time to like work out or meditate or whatever you're going to do. Even if it's just like you're sitting, listening to music in the morning, sitting by your fireplace.
Yep.
Like just like take the time out and time block it, have time that you're making your calls or that you're looking for houses on the MLS for your clients. Once you do everything that you consistently do, then you're like, great, I've already done it. Yeah. And now I can spend time with my kids. I can take them to the pool. I can go on a hike. I can do whatever I want to do if I've done the stuff that I'm already time blocked out.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So you're super successful in real estate. You do really, really well selling real estate. You're a true professional. On top of that, you've talked about being a mother, which is awesome, right? You have 3 awesome kids. And how do you balance it all, right? I think that's something, we talk a lot about in our industry, like the success part of it, like as it relates to numbers and transactions and stuff like that. But the side that maybe we don't talk a lot about, at least in the public eye, is that other side, which I know because I see you, I know how much of a priority your kids are to you. Mm-hmm. How do you balance all of that? How do you do that and make it look so easy?
Yeah, that's funny. I know people always ask me like, how do you do it all? I'm like, I don't. So I think what you have to do is be okay to leverage some stuff out.
Yeah.
And then also being okay to let things go sometimes. So guess what? There's probably some dirty dishes in my sink right now because
heaven forbid.
I know, heaven forbid. But it's like sometimes you just have to let a few things go and you can't be like perfect all the time. And as far as leveraging, even as small as like I order beehive meals, they're like the frozen crock pot meals.
Yeah.
So that I can just throw them in the morning and then know that I have dinner like ready to go.
Awesome. Now we just need to get them to sponsor this podcast now,
Sponsor
right?
us.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah, but just little hacks like that,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
like I know I'm going to be busy, have a
yeah.
backup plan for
Yep.
a day that I get the phone call of like, hey, we need to go over to the property or whatever. And
Totally.
check it out.
Yep. I mean, I've been very fortunate enough to have assistants too. And so that is so nice because once I have somebody under contract, it's like I can just hand the stuff over
That is
to my
awesome.
team and the assistants. So that's really nice. That's obviously allowed me to be more present for my kids because I'm not, doing paperwork and doing a bunch of stuff like that. So and leveraging out, like I've leveraged out house cleaning before. If I'm super busy, then I'll have a housekeeper come in and clean because I just feel like if I have spare time, I want to be spending it with my kids. I don't want to be cleaning.
Yeah, for sure. You speak our language. That's kind of what we're doing here at ELEV8, right? In fact, we just recently are working on adding house cleaning, right? So we'll have to connect on that so you can try that out and give some feedback. But that's one thing I think that we're all learning too, right? Like time is so valuable, right? And it's awesome to be in a place where you're successful and you have the ability to say, hey, like I can leverage my time by having beehive meals or having a cleaner come every once in a while or things like that and stuff. And totally agree. You have an amazing team over at UPT. You've got really good support, good people there, and that makes all the difference. Was it ever hard at first to allow people to help you with your transaction?
Like 100%. And I still have, like, my team will say I still have control issues.
No, I'm just kidding.
I do.
We all do. I think we all do.
I really do. I really do have a hard time because I want everything to be perfect for my clients. I do.
Yeah.
And I know that this is like a huge thing for them. And so like, I want it to be like where they're not stressed out. So, so I do have a lot of control issues when it comes to that, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at just letting it go.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure in the beginning, it was very difficult to be okay to even the house cleaning. It sounds so crazy, but it's like, I had a hard time just like giving it up because I just felt like as a mom, I think it's like more a mom thing where you feel like you're in charge of the house and you're the one that needs to keep it nice and clean and you know all of that. But
all that pressure.
But once I got the housekeeper, I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Check. Got this. Just sell a few more houses and it's all good, right?
And then you're helping somebody else.
Totally. Yeah, I love that.
Like honestly, like the housekeeper that I had, she was just like a mom of 2 young kids.
Awesome.
And for her, it was like perfect to have some extra cash.
Yeah, blesses her life, right? Blesses yours.
Oh,
it's amazing how the world works that way, right? I love that.
Yep.
I love that. And you know, it's awesome in our industry too, right? You make those connections and stuff, and it's crazy. I'm sure you've gotten referrals from her or family or friends or other people you do business with, right? It's such a networking game, things like that. So, so I recently read a book, and it just talks about how like the person we once were is like the person that we're most capable or prepared to help now. Have you found that to be true in your life, where life experiences from the past or even something recent that you've gone through or whatever have allowed you to help somebody else or be a mentor or a friend or bless the life of somebody that you've crossed paths with?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, I've had my challenges just like everyone else. I'm a single mom now, so I'm divorced. And so being a single mom and then trying to work full time and being the sole provider, it's hard and it gets stressful. And you know, especially in an industry where it's commission based and I don't have like a set income.
Yeah, it's not like the same check comes every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yes. So I think me going through these experiences has definitely helped me to help other single moms that are full-time real estate agents as well.
Yeah.
Just giving them ideas or even just support. Even for me, like having, and then also seeing the other single moms out there just like killing it in real estate is like so inspiring for me too.
Yeah.
It's like such a good example. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like if they can do this, I can do this.
For sure. What have you learned over the years too? Like I feel like sometimes we put so much, and I don't want to project this on anyone else, but I know over the years there's been times where I've put so much of my value and my worth in maybe my number of sales or like how successful I thought I was at work or whatever else. And how have you over time, right? Like you mentioned that you got divorced or something, and you could say, hey, well, now I'm a divorcee or whatever. And how have you not let like certain titles or whatever define you and really dug deep to who you really are at the core?
I think it's, I like just, it's like you have no choice. Well, you do have a choice, actually. You have a choice to either go one way or another.
Yeah.
And so you can either rise above it and just like be like, I'm going to come out on top of this stronger.
Yeah.
Or you can be like, make the other choice of like, I'm just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself and like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I mean, it's scary. It's scary being out in the world by yourself with, having the responsibility of taking care of kids and being the sole provider. It's scary.
For sure.
And so honestly, I think I just was like, I'm not going to do this. And so I'm just going to do this.
Which is totally like, you're not this person that's just going to sit back. Like I've known you.
I'm not.
9-10 years now. So I know that in you, but like I totally admire and respect, because like you said, like everybody goes through hard things. I'll definitely take my hard compared to your hard, but I watched you go through that experience and just watched you rise above. And I'm sure, there were ugly and messy days like there are in everybody's lives, right? Like we all have those. But I've been super impressed with how it's almost like you went inward and just said, okay, like I am going to continue to work on me and continue to not only just be, you're already an awesome person, but how can I become a better person, continue to thrive in real estate, continue to be a professional, continue to be a better mom. And it's been really awesome to watch you just rise above. And I have nothing but total respect and admiration for you.
It's tough. I think everybody goes through stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people go through health stuff. People go through divorces. There's so many things that everybody goes through. And so you just have a choice. It's basically one choice.
Right.
This way or this way.
Right.
It really is.
For sure.
And so, you just choose to rise up.
Absolutely. We always say around here, it's time to elevate, right? Like, it's just like, we gotta elevate, we gotta move up. So the thing that's beautiful about that, right? Like I think we find ourselves like through life and our careers and just different things like that, where, maybe things happen outside of our control or choices are made and different things like that. But what I've realized too, like it's easy to find ourselves in this place of like, holy cow, like we probably feel like we want to just sit there and sulk and stuff like that. And maybe we need a day where,
I'm I have my days. I literally do. Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy just to tape an aspirin to it and act like everything's just fine, right? Like you can only do that so long. But there is something in just saying, okay, like it's up to me. Like I have a choice and I have to like decide that I want to make a change. But I think the beautiful thing is if we find ourselves in those places, like we have the power like to change that day. We can say, hey, I want something different, right? And just choose to say, okay, what's the first intentional step that I need to take to move down that road? So anyways, I just super admire everything that you've accomplished and overcome.
I think too, it's so important to have good people that you're around.
100%.
I had my team who were like 100% so supportive and like, you can do this.
Yeah.
And friends and family that were just like supportive. And so I think like the people that you put yourself around are going to make a huge difference on which way you'll end up going. 100%.
At ELEV8, we have a core value that says we believe in people and their dreams. And like I've been super blessed throughout my life with good friends and mentors like you. And in the industry, I think one of the things I've loved the most about being in this business is meeting people like you and other people. It's so fascinating to meet different people and learn their stories, right? Like, and I think it's why we love what we do. Like when you meet buyers and sellers, everyone has a story, and it is so awesome to learn other people's stories. Who would you say in your story thus far in life, who would you say has been like one of the, shining stars or whatever, who's been a good mentor or friend or somebody that you've looked up to, either personally, professionally, or both, right? That has just been like that person that has just been, man, they have blessed my life in so many ways. And now I, in turn, like I said, we believe in people in their dreams. I want to help other people now accomplish their best.
I hate saying this because, me and him, we have like this little
Yes. Yeah.
brother-sister relationship.
Oh yeah,
But,
and I love it. I think that's why. I think that's why you guys are so successful.
But Aaron, for sure. So, obviously he helped me get started in real estate. So Aaron Arrington is my broker.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, so how me and him ended up meeting is he was actually coaching me over at Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And then he actually started a team, and then I actually asked him to have me on the team.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we've been obviously together basically the entire 9 years. But he's just such a good mentor. You already know this.
Oh, for sure. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, he is successful. He is encouraging. He's annoying.
We love you, Aaron.
Love you, but yeah, he is definitely the one that has helped me the most. And then because of how much he's helped me, I really do want to be able to mentor more people. That's hopefully my goal in the next few years, is just to start mentoring more new agents. I did just recently get my broker's license.
Awesome.
And I mainly got it just because I want to be able to help new agents. And I felt like that was I needed to have that in order to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I echo those words. Aaron, honestly, is just one of the coolest guys and has such a good heart. He sometimes comes across a little gruff, right, or whatever. But I've always appreciated sometimes he said the things that I needed to hear, right?
Yeah.
When nobody else would say those things to me.
Yeah.
But the thing that I love the most about him is he really does believe in people and their dreams, and he fully invests. And I too have been so blessed by having that guy in my life and my family and stuff. So yeah, super incredible mentor, and what a blessing, right? To have people like Aaron. And isn't it amazing too? I love how you followed up with okay, because of that, now I have this strong desire to pay it forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the beauty of it, right? I look back on my life and just people who no coincidences, you can look back now and oh my gosh, that person was super influential in helping me become who I am today, right? And then it just motivates and inspires us to pay it forward, so to speak. So, okay, well, we've been really serious most of this time, which is not really like
not
us. So,
this is not us.
This is not us. But I love it too, right? I love just chatting with people and learning more about them. I know you really, really well, but really appreciate just your willingness to share and things like that. I'd love to just maybe mix it up a little bit and just let's talk about maybe some funny stuff. What is the most, what's the funniest experience you've had in real estate, whether it's showing homes or just a situation that you just look back on and you're and maybe it's something you said or did or whatever, right? If you think about it over the years, what is a funny situation in real estate that you look back on still and you're oh my gosh, this is hilarious.
I mean, honestly, there's so many. And that's why I love my job.
Yeah.
Is because it's something different every single day.
For sure.
It's not all stress all the time, right? There's a lot of funny situations that happen. But I would say probably the funniest things that have happened is, I'll start group text with my clients.
Right. Oh boy.
And where this is going.
Wow. I can only imagine.
So, it's a couple and I'm starting a group text.
Yeah.
I can send them messages or houses or whatever,
Yeah.
And I've been in the middle of some fun little text messages.
They didn't realize it was the group text.
They didn't realize why. I don't know how that happened, but they would have message back on the group text
oh my gosh.
Can't wait to see you tonight.
Yeah. And you're like,
And
oh,
then
are we
I'm
supposed
like,
to go look at houses
hey,
tonight?
by the way, I'm on here.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
or love you, babe. And
Yeah.
it's like, by
wrong,
the way.
wrong
like,
chat, right? Oh my gosh, that's
there's been
hilarious.
so many funny things that have happened while showing houses, like finding just interesting, weird things. Like
Yeah.
one time I was showing a house and, we're just walking through and we go and we're walking into one of the rooms and they are like opening up the closets to see like how big the closet space is.
Yeah.
And they open it up and there's just like this life-size mannequin,
Wow. Probably caught them off guard a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I've been to houses too where so one time I was in a house and they had this big cold storage and it was long and deep and then it took a corner.
Oh.
So I was like, we're just going to check it out. So we like check it out and I turn around the corner and there's this life-size Santa like around the corner and I just screamed and my clients just thought it was hilarious. I'm really scared of spiders. Like I hate spiders so much. And to the point where I'll like hide in a room if I see a spider. Like I'm just terrified. It's so stupid because they're like so tiny. But one time I was driving out and my clients were following me. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden there's a spider on my dashboard and I'm freaking out. So I'm like, and then I like pull over to the side of the road and I'm like, get out. And they're like, what is happening?
They're in the car with you and all this is going down?
They're
they
like
just see your car swerving or whatever. They're like, is Heather having a seizure?
I'm like off to the side of the road. Like,
oh my gosh.
And they come up, they're like, what's going on in there? I'm like, there's a spider in here. And they're like, seriously. He was very good about it. He was like trying to find it and everything.
Let me kill this for you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I have so much fun actually with my clients. Like
for sure.
It's so funny because it's, and some of my clients will actually say this, like, we miss just hanging out with you. I'm like, yeah, I miss hanging out. Once they close on a house and we've been looking for houses for so long, it's like they become like my friends.
Part of your family. Yeah,
yes.
For sure. And then you don't communicate with them as much. I've heard that's kind of a thing, right? Like you're so involved with them. Of course you keep in touch, right? Like you guys are amazing about following up and like working that sphere of influence, but it's just different communication at that point, right? Because you're so heavily involved in getting them there and then that changes. So what would you say you love the most about what you do for a living, selling real estate, being a realtor?
I honestly just feel like it is so rewarding to be able to help people with the biggest purchase of their lives or sell or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And it's huge. It makes a huge difference in their life.
Absolutely.
And like seeing first-time home buyers get their first house is like so rewarding.
Yeah.
But even seeing second-time home buyers get their dream home, right, is just so rewarding. Fun. I just love it so much. I really do. Like, obviously we all work for money, but like, I just don't feel that way. Mm-hmm. I really don't. Like, it's just not a factor. Yeah. I'm really just out there helping people with buy, sell, invest in real estate.
Yeah. Building wealth through real estate, right? Mm-hmm. Well, and part of it, I think it just comes so naturally to you too, right? Like you talk about like before you were attending bar and stuff like that. And like you probably had regulars and just people you get to communicate with. And like one of your superpowers is your ability to communicate with people. You're super real, you're down to earth, you're not pretentious, stuff like that. So I think it's probably been an awesome magnet, right, to grow your business. Because we live in a world where, in the headlines and the media right now, there's a lot of talk about just real estate and whatever, right, and tech platforms and just different things like that.
Yeah.
But how would you say that you differentiate yourself from like others in the industry? Like what do you think your biggest superpower is?
I think honestly, just what you said is just being real and like really, I think people can see that I really want to help them.
Yeah.
I'm very sincere about it. It's like, I really want to help, whether it's buying or selling. And I think people know that I also am very knowledgeable about the market. Mm-hmm. I keep myself that way because I want to be able to help my clients the best way possible.
For sure.
Like I have investors that call me specifically to ask certain questions because they know that I know the market.
Yeah.
And huge. So I think it's big.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let's think. Is there any questions you want to talk about or anything like that, like within your business or anything?
Not that I can think of.
We good? Did we get good?
We're great.
Let's just see if there's any.
Cool.
Is there any advice that you can give to realtors that are getting started? Because you can probably ask this if you want after I ask it, but
Yeah.
is there any advice you can give to new realtors? Because especially for new realtors right now, they're feeling like, the market's saturated. It's hard to sell houses, all this stuff. So like, what would you do if
Heather's like, don't get into real estate. No, I'm,
No.
just kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I actually encourage it. Like
Yeah.
There's
a room for everybody.
There's room for everyone.
Especially people
you know
who
that I
wanna, like,
brought
do what you
Sid
do.
like into the business.
Yeah, and she's crushed it.
And she's crushing it. And
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Like it's amazing. And Tony, same thing.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Yeah.
So no, the advice I probably would give new agents is just keep working, stay consistent. When you have the down times, you just stay consistent. Just do the things that you're supposed to do. Make your phone calls, go out and meet people, do your open houses, do all the things because you're just building it up.
Yeah.
And it's hard in the beginning. You're feeling like, I don't know if I can do this, but like I've had clients who have literally like I met them a year ago and they come back.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, we met you a year ago at an open house. We would love for you to help
Oh, that's
us.
awesome. That's a huge compliment,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Like a year later.
Huge.
And
Yes.
I think that's the beautiful thing too. You bring up a really good point about real estate, right? Like over the years, and the great agents don't do this, right? Like once you meet somebody, like keep nurturing them. I feel like you and your team are really, really good at this, right? Because just because the timing might not be right now, at some point they're going to buy a house, right? Like, and you're going to want to sell them that house, whether it's today or whether it's 4 years or 5 years from now. You still want to do that, and so you guys are really, really good at keeping in touch with them and doing that. And so I think it's just great advice too. Is just putting in the reps, right? Because it's interesting how in our industry and probably most things in life, right? Like if you continue to show up every day, put in the reps, it just snowballs. I've told people that, having been in the business for a long time too, it's hard at first because you're just kind of building this momentum, right? You're trying to get that flywheel going and stuff. And it can get discouraging and it can get frustrating. You can even question like, holy cow, what am I doing, right? Like this is not like HGTV where they just pick 3 houses and 30 minutes later they're living in the Bahamas, right? Like, and that's kind of the, I think, impression people get with our industry. But if we're willing to put in the reps, we're willing to show up every day and just strive to get better, it's crazy how you get that one transaction and then that snowballs to another one, right? Like that person has a friend or a family member that wants to buy, and then all of a sudden you're helping them, and then so it's pretty awesome how that works. So for sure. Yeah,
one of my clients actually just recently, she it was actually a good description. She said, "You're not like annoying. You're just like kind of in our back pocket." Like we know that you're always there.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously, all the little things that we do to like kind of keep track of our clients,
For sure.
like invite them to events or send out little gift cards or stuff like that. But she's like, you're not like in my face all the time, but you're just like in my back pocket. Like I know when I'm ready to buy or sell, like I can just take you out of my back pocket.
Yeah, which is great, right? Like I think that's a huge compliment, right? Like
it was like,
they know and
that's
trust you.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, I'm here when you need me.
Yeah.
Call me anytime, right?
Yes.
Like, and that's, I think, back to like you're so approachable, right? Which is such a great gift as a realtor. Okay, let's wrap it up with. I just have one more question, right? And then kind of going a little bit a little bit deep here again. But I think you'll have some great advice here, right?
Okay.
Can you think of a pivotal moment in your life or in your career that has shaped the way you approach selling real estate now?
Let's see. I think I've always just been like this at the very beginning. And I think it's just because I've always worked with in customer service.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit too much because I worked for tips, right? So it was just like, you did everything to please everybody in order to, and make it an experience.
Yep.
But because of that, I think that shaped me into the realtor that I am.
Yeah.
Which is I just want my clients to be happy, feel comfortable. I'm constantly communicating with them because I don't want them to feel like what's happening, what's going on, or feel anxious.
For sure.
Like that is my entire job, is to take these people through the process in the smoothest way possible to make it as easy as possible, because moving is not easy.
Yeah.
And buying a house is one of the biggest things
we'll ever do.
We'll
in our
ever
life.
do
One of the
in
biggest
life.
purchases in our life,
And so,
besides raising teenage kids.
yeah, that's true. Seriously.
Side note.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your real estate license.
Yeah.
Then
I know.
reconsider the
Yes.
kids. No, I'm just kidding. Kids, I love you. Would not change my life without my kids.
But yeah,
Cut that
it's
out,
kind
please,
of
Cole.
actually similar.
That was really rude.
Raising teenagers and helping people with real
Yeah.
estate. I mean, it really is. It's,
For
I
sure.
mean, but yeah. So I would just say, like, just being involved with customer service and just wanting my clients to have the best experience possible.
For sure.
And that's what shaped me, is just literally all my, basically
Previous
my whole
experience.
life
Yeah.
and previous experience.
You build upon it and then use that to grow your business.
Yes.
Yeah, our industry is really interesting. You kind of bring up a good point where I think it'd be helpful if all of us, because we get into this and even though we work really hard to make sure that, they have an awesome experience and all that stuff, sometimes that emotion that they feel, like unless you're like the actual buyer, the seller, like I've always joked, it'd be good for all of us probably to do like one personal transaction every single year.
Yeah.
Just to remind us, right? Like, and not that we forget, but it just really shows the power and value of what we do in our
Oh, yeah.
industry. Because when you feel those emotions and those unknowns and those stresses, and we do this every day. So when it's our personal deal and you feel that, imagine somebody that this is like their first home or even their second or third home, right? Like we really have the ability, and you're really great at this, of just making it an awesome experience where you become the guide and you help them through that process. And that is just so valuable because that's what people are looking for. People can say what they want about tech platforms or this or that and stuff like that. And those have their places, right? Like our world is evolving and we're all learning how to not be afraid of those, but use those as tools to help us be better at what we do. But the truth is, there's nothing like human connection to help people through those emotions, those challenges, and those trials that inevitably come when purchasing real estate. So
Absolutely. Yep.
anyway.
Yep, they go hand in hand. I mean, we're a big fan of tech, but I really feel like, and I've said it before, is people want a personal experience and they want to have somebody that they trust and to help them through the process.
100%. Well,
An actual person.
a live person who is there to help them. Like you said, that one person that's like, hey, we just know that you're there when you need us. Like you couldn't ask for a better situation with clients, right?
Totally.
So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. You've done a great job. Congrats on all your success. Thank you for
so much.
your friendship, for your example, and just being an awesome friend and mentor over the years. I really, really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Awesome.